Equivalent Ratios, Chapter 4, Lesson 2, Part 1. So first we're going to start with some review using fractions, expressing each fraction as two equivalent fractions using multiplication. All this means is that you are multiplying both your numerator and your denominator by the same number to get an equivalent fraction. So if I multiply 4/5 by 2, I would get 8/10. So 4/5 and 8/10 are equivalent. Pick a different number and do that yourself. Again, 7/12 I can pick times 10 for both the numerator and denominator, and I would get 70 over 100. They are equivalent. Finding equivalent fractions can also be done using division. The important part with division is that you are picking a number that both your numerator and denominator are divisible by. So with 16/24, I see that both of these numbers are even, so I know I can divide by 2. So I would get 8/12. And then again, I see both of these are divisible by 4, so if I wanted to find another one, 4/6 would also work. 27 and 35, 135, there are only two common factors that both of these can be divided by, one being 3. So 27 divided by 3 is 9, and 135 divided by 3 is 45. And then we can also divide by 9. And 27 divided by 9 is, of course, 3. And 135 divided by 9 is 15. Okay, so we're using the same idea here to find a missing number. So if 3/8, I want to find an equivalent fraction that has 12 as the numerator, I'm going to use multiplication. 3 times what is 12? Well, 3 times 4 is 12. So to find the missing number, I'm multiplying by 4. And that would be 32. 2/9 equals what over 54? So 9 times 6 is 54. So again, I have to do the same to the top. So 2 times 6 is 12. In number 7 and 8, we're moving a little bit backwards. Since I have 49 to 7, actually dividing 49 by 7 to get 7. So now to figure out what will be on top, I do 7 divided by 7, which of course is 1. Same thing with number 8. How do I get from 32 to 8? Well, 32 divided by 4 is what 8 is. So to figure out what's here, I have to do 36 divided by 4. And since that is 9, 9 is our missing spot here. And last part of the review, expressing fractions in simplest form. We divide by the greatest common factor to do that. So in 26 over 91, my greatest common factor is 13. So 26 divided by 13 is 2. And 91 divided by 13 is 7. So 26 over 91 simplifies all the way down to 2/7. 51 over 85. Greatest common factor here is 17. So that leaves me with 3 over 5. So now we're going to apply some of that review to our ratios. We can make equivalent ratios with multiplication and division as well. So in this example, we have 4 teacups to 8 teaspoons. So right now the ratio is 4 to 8. We can make an equivalent ratio by splitting it up into equal groups. So again, because those were both even, they split both things, the cups and the spoons, up into groups of 2. There are 2 groups of cups and 4 groups of teaspoons. So 2 to 4 is equivalent to 4 to 8. Okay, so in part C, they split it up into groups of 4. So we have 1 group of 4 for the cups and 2 groups of 4 for the teaspoons. So that ratio is 1 to 2. So all that's saying that these 3 ratios, 4 to 8, 2 to 4, and 1 to 2 are all equivalent ratios. All right, number 11A, we have stones versus sticks. So they want to know the ratio of stones to sticks. There are 16 stones and 20 sticks. So we can find an equivalent ratio then by breaking them up into equal groups. So they showed you here that they broke up the stones and the sticks into groups of 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups of stones, and then 10 groups of sticks. So the ratio of the number of groups of stones to the number of sticks is 8 to 10. So that tells you that the ratio of 16 to 20 is equivalent to 8 to 10. So typically you're not going to have pictures. You're going to just use division or multiplication to make equivalent ratios. So in this example, number 12, we have 42 stones and 18 sticks. Again, since both of those numbers are even, we're just going to divide by 2. So 42 divided by 2 is 21, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. Okay? Part B, we can start with the same thing again. They both are divisible by 3, so we can divide both numbers by 3 as well. So if we divide by 3, we have 14 groups of 3 stones and 6 groups of 3 sticks. And again, both are divisible by 6. So 42 divided by 6 is 7, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. So all 4 of these ratios are equivalent. 42 to 18 is equivalent to 21 to 9, and 14 to 6, and also 7 to 3. To put ratio in simplest form, we are doing the exact same thing we do with fractions. We divide by the greatest common factor. So 16 and 24. The greatest common factor of 16 and 24 is 8. So both numbers have to be divided by 8. 16 divided by 8 equals 2, and 24 divided by 8 equals 3. So 16 to 24 in simplest form is 2 to 3. Again, remember, divide by the greatest common factor, always, to get something in simplest form. So let's do 13 through 18. We have 15 and 39. The greatest common factor here, I know my factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. And 3 is the only one that goes into both. So 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. Okay, 60 and 36. My greatest common factor here is actually 12. So I'm dividing both by 12. 60 divided by 12 is 5, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. All right, so number 15, 12 and 30. So you'd have to find the greatest common factor of 12 and 30. So the greatest common factor here is 6. So 12 divided by 6, of course, is 2. And 30 divided by 6 is 5. All right, number 16, I have 78 to 52. 78 to 52, the greatest common factor is actually 26. And I know I'm moving fast, but I want you to just to see the point. So 78 divided by 26 is 3. And 52 divided by 26 is 2. Number 17 and 18, pause, give them a shot, come back and check your work. The greatest common factor here is 9. 81 divided by 9 is 9. 45 divided by 9 is 5. And the greatest common factor here would be 14. So 56 divided by 14 is 4. And 98 divided by 14 is 7. So when putting ratios in simplest form, the other thing you want to remember is that when you're dealing with units of measurement, like liters and milliliters, you want to get them in the same form. So 9 liters you would have to transform into 9,000 milliliters first. And that's going to make it easier to simplify or put in simplest form. They actually did it here with just dividing by the greatest common factor, which in this case is actually 300. So the simplest form is 30 to 1. So in number 19, we have 400 grams to 2 kilograms. It's important to know for this one, 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. So now I have 400 grams to 2,000 grams. So again, we have 400 to 2,000. And then again, you're going to divide by the greatest common factor of both, which in this case is actually 400. So 400 divided by 400 is, of course, 1. And 2,000 divided by 400, I'm going to make it easy on myself and cancel out some zeros. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, for 60 centimeters to 12 meters, it's just important to remember that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So then we would have 60 to 1,200. And then the greatest common factor here is going to be 60. So 60 divided by 60 is 1, and 1,200 divided by 60 is 20. In number 21, we have 27 inches to 3 feet. Again, 1 foot equals 12 inches. So we have 27 to 36 then. And the greatest common factor here is 9. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. And 36 divided by 9 is 4. In number 22, I have 5 pounds to 48 ounces. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. And then in number 23, we have 100 seconds to 7 minutes. Of course, you know 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So I would like you to give these two a try and again get them the simplest form by dividing by the greatest common factor. And then come back and check your work. So this would be 80 to 48. And 48, excuse me. So the greatest common factor here is actually going to be 16. Okay, so that divided by would be 5 to 3. And then this would be 100 to 420. The greatest common factor here would be 20. So 100 divided by 20 is 5. And 420 divided by 20 is 21, 5 to 21. Okay, and in this last section, you're just answering our ratio is equivalent. So basically, you're determining if you're multiplying or dividing by the same number to get from one ratio to the other. So we have 6 to 7 and 18 to 21. Yes, those are equivalent ratios because 6 times 3 is 18 and 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, and 5 to 20 and 4 to 1. 20 divided by 20 is 1, but 5 divided by 20 is not 4, so it's no. All right, 5 to 10 and 13 to 26. And this one, I can't get from 5 to 13 or 10 to 26 evenly, so I'm going to simplify both. This goes down to 1 to 2, and this goes down to 1 to 2, so yes, they are equivalent. Number 25, 2 to 3, and 3 to 9. 2 to 3 is in simplest form, and this simplifies down to 1 to 3, so no. So I do recommend putting these all in the simplest form to find out if they're equivalent. So 36 to 60 in simplest form. The greatest common factor here is 12, so this goes all the way down to 3. 36 divided by 12 is 3, and 60 divided by 12 is 5. And I'm going to simplify 6 to 10 by dividing both by 2, and that's also 3 to 5. So yes, these are equivalent. Number 27, 81 to 27. I'm going to actually divide, let's see, the greatest common factor here is actually 27. My apologies for the delay. I was just thinking. So 81 divided by 27 is 3. And 27 divided by 27 is, of course, 1. And 15 to 5, of course, the greatest common factor is 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. Give number 28 and 29 a try on your own, and please come back and check your work. So pause now. Okay, number 28, 12 to 17, 17 to 12. This is automatically a no. When the numbers are just switched like that, it's definitely a no. All right, and lastly, 29, 2 to 5, and 50 to 20. 2 to 5 is in simplest form. 50 to 20, I can divide both by 10, so I'd get 5 to 2. But because, again, it's just flipped, it's not the same thing. They are not equivalent ratios.